Good morning, YouTube. I guess it's still morning, right? I am going live today, my only day this week that I'm going live for Miracle Mornings. I'm traveling at the end of the week. So I won't be live on Thursday. So this is the only day, but it might be a little extra long for that reason because I have a lot to talk about. I wanted to talk about genius zone, finding your genius zone, and some of the limiting beliefs that can get in the way. Although I probably won't go that deep into that because I also got a lot of questions from my Instagram. So I put a live call for question out over there and got some good questions, some about photography and looking at cameras, some, one of my favorite questions, actually, I'll just read the question, was asking to share tips for staying out of the comparison game and raising to a higher frequency. So I love that question. I love talking about this topic because I just think in our society and with social media, it's so prevalent to see everybody else's lives and wins and all that on display. And a lot of times we don't share the darker sides of our stories and our journeys, the harder parts. So when you're constantly kind of flooding your own attention and consciousness on other people and what they're doing, it can get really easy to get sucked into that feeling of not good enough or comparison or wanting things to be better. Trust me, I go through this with my kitchen. I really want a new kitchen, and looking at other people's beautiful kitchens, it can suck me into feeling like frustrated or jealous or whatever. So I love talking about this topic as artists and creatives too. I think that, and anyone who's posting on social media is a creator. You're creating content if you're posting content. And so it's easy, I think, to get in that comparison trap of like their work is better than mine, or their life is better than mine, or their careers are further ahead than mine. I do love hearing stories of people who reinvented themselves and had a really successful career that started later in their life. And maybe that's just because of my age and having already like had a whole career and kind of starting over. And you will probably know my story by now if you're watching this, but having sold everything and moved to Florida and then starting from scratch down here, I like hearing those inspiring stories of people who just completely reinvented their lives. So it's never too late, and that anything is possible. Like I feel like that's just what I want this whole show to be about, is that like anything's possible, that miracles are possible. Little everyday things, or like, what's your wildest dream? What's like the wildest dream that you have for yourself that's possible too? So that's what we're talking about today. I'm also sharing a protein bone broth protein cookie recipe. It was good. I made them yesterday. They're like cakey and chewy. Doesn't that look good? They're really yummy. So actually, why don't I just start with the recipe? So this is what I used for it. I'm not sponsored, but Paleo Valley, if you want to send me some extra protein to cook some more recipes with, I would love to do that. I follow a girl who shares a lot of her like what I eat in a day and her healthy meals and stuff. And she makes a protein, like a bone broth protein brownie. And then I was thinking I kind of wanted cookies. So I was Googling recipes for cookies, and I found a recipe, and then I just tweaked it. So I'm going to post the recipe in the comment section below. But basically, I just took 2 scoops of the bone broth protein. I did 1 scoop of chocolate collagen powder, a cup of almond butter, a teaspoon of baking soda, a tablespoon of vanilla. I did 4 packets of stevia. So you could do 4 tablespoons of whatever sweetener you want. I like to do low carb, low sugar, so I use artificial sweeteners. So I did stevia and 2 tablespoons of cocoa powder, and that was it. And you just, and 2 eggs. And then you just mix it together, form them into little balls, bake them at 350 for 10 minutes, and they were delicious. And then you can also mix in chocolate chips, sugar-free chocolate chips, top with flaky sea salt if you want to, but they came out really good. And they were nice. My husband took them for breakfast this morning because they're super healthy. Okay. So always looking for ways to get protein in midlife, right? Okay. So one of the questions that I got was on choosing digital cameras and like where to start for somebody that isn't taking pictures professionally, but like you just want to gift somebody a camera that loves photography or whatever. How do you know what you're looking for when you're looking at like all the different specs online? So I would say there's like two or three. There's now three ways to go with digital cameras. There's an entry-level digital SLR. So SLR stands for single lens reflex camera. They are actually, I have mine here. So this is my camera my professional camera. It's a D5. But digital SLRs have interchangeable lenses. So you can get really high quality professional lenses for them. And they have a full frame sensor. Most of them, but actually some of the entry-level ones don't have a full frame sensor, but that affects the quality. But you can see if you look inside when you take the lens off, see the mirror in there? So the mirror basically projects light up into the viewfinder of the camera. So that is when you press the shutter release, the mirror flips up and allows the light to enter the image sensor and record the image. So that's a digital SLR. They start like the entry-level digital SLRs are like the Canon Digital Rebel is a Canon. I don't know what the Nikon is because I started on Canon, but then switched to Nikon. So that's good because you can get a lower price point base and you can start investing in expensive lenses. And then when you upgrade your camera body, you've already like the investment in the lenses carries through. So that's good. If you're not ready for a digital SLR, then you're looking at like point and shoots and you want a point and shoot that has an optical zoom. So there's digital zoom or optical zoom. Optical zoom is the actual lens comes out of the camera body and changes the focal length. So rather than a digital zoom is just digitally like zooming in but you're losing image quality. So if you have an optical zoom, it's going to be a higher quality zoom than a digital zoom. And so I always look for that. And then even those have different ranges. Like the Canon PowerShot would be in the, I think it's like $700 or $800 range right now. They do make them cheap. Like if you want something in the $100 to $200 range, there's a lot of, I don't even know the brands, but for like live streaming, web streams and all that, you can still find like a $100 to $200 camera that has optical zoom. So that's what I would look for even in the lower price points. Because and then obviously the image quality, whether it's 4K or 5K, and like the video quality, if you care about video or not. So those are things I start looking for. Those are the more important specs, in my opinion, when you're starting to look for cameras with good image quality. Let's see. Oh, so another question, this was my favorite question that came in. Tips for staying out of the comparison game and raising your frequency. Okay, I love this. One of my favorite, I don't know if it's a quote or if it's just something that I like heard along the way. Somebody said it, but it's that if you feel jealousy looking at something, and I'll just kind of sum up all the emotions under the umbrella of jealousy, but when you're comparing yourself to someone else, and usually it's their highlight reel that they're showing on social media, right? And that's assuming we're getting that from, but even just in your friend group or your family group, if you're just comparing yourself to how far along somebody is in fitness or in their career or whatever, and it makes you feel jealousy or even just like a little bit of like not good enough, if it's making you feel not good enough, if you can remember to say to yourself, thank you for reminding me what's possible, it can help change your energy around that pretty instantly. So when you experience jealousy, saying thank you for reminding me what's possible, because what it is something in their journey is resonating with you as possible, but you don't have it yet. And so then you feel not enough or not close enough, not good enough, not timely enough. But it doesn't mean that it's impossible for you. It just means that you're not there yet. And a lot of times we only experience jealousy because it is something that subconsciously we want for ourselves, or consciously. We might consciously want it, but it's something that we want for ourselves and it hasn't happened yet. And so that's what triggers that emotion. So if you can reframe it into, this is just showing me my own possibility, and you wouldn't feel that sense of jealousy or whatever else you're feeling if it wasn't possible for you. It wouldn't even resonate. Like, we don't all have the same dreams, right? We don't all want the same things in life. I think about this when I was running $1 million photography studio. That was probably a lot of dreams for a lot of photographers. And at the time, I wanted more time home. I wanted more time with my kids. So just because somebody's at the top of a mountain that you want to climb, it doesn't even mean that they're all the way at the top of their mountain either. And a lot of times we are only showing the highlights. So just knowing that the fact that it's even resonating with you at all energetically means that it's possible for you, and you can switch into gratitude and saying, like, thanks universe, thanks God for like giving me this reminder of what's possible for me in my path. And then turn it into inspiration, turn it into motivation, turn it into like, oh, this is reinforcing my passion. This is reinforcing what I want for myself. And again, if you didn't feel that little bit of jealousy or that little bit of negative emotion or the little bit of not enough, then it wouldn't be part of your path. The fact that you're even feeling that means that this is probably part of your path and something that you desire for yourself. And so it's something you can use it as fuel to reignite the passion and the energy that's going to get you what you want. Then the next step is, how can I get into the energy of the person that's already achieved that? Like, every day. How can you do it right now? You are always in control of changing your energy, your own energy. You know, you can, if you change your thoughts, you're going to change your emotional responses, and you're going to change the biological reaction of your body. And remember that your mind and body don't respond to if something is true in reality or not. It just responds to the thought of it, that it's happening now. So if you can just think about all of it happening now and get into that energy of it happening now, whatever it is that you want, then you're shifting into drawing it closer to you. And you're actually using that trigger of jealousy or not enough or not there yet. You're actually alchemizing that negative emotion into something really powerful and positive, because you're changing it into the exact energy that you need to get you the desired results. That's magical. So that's my answer to that. That I do love that topic, because I think we can do that with anything really in our lives, like any shadow, anything we don't want to look at, anything that makes us feel uncomfortable, anything that we would judge as a negative emotion. We can use that as the portal to its opposite energy. We can use that as like, oh, I don't like feeling like this. I don't like when my energy is like this. I don't like this. So what do I want? I want the opposite of that. And how can I start getting into the thought process and the energy of the opposite? Just alchemize dark into light. And then you start practicing the light. You start practicing the positive energy, the positive emotion, positive statements. My daughter is actually taking singing lessons, and her teacher was like, she needs to stand in the mirror and say, I can sing. I'm a good singer. And some of that sounds silly, right? But it's true. Once we assume the identity of the goal achieved, we start to radiate that energy, and life responds to that energy. That's part of why I started this show, and I've said it many times, but I started to ask myself, what will I do when I don't have to work anymore? Because I'm manifesting really big things. What will I do when I don't have to work anymore? And then suddenly, gradually I started to be like, well, I kind of don't. I have my stuff online and everything, but like, I'm in a place in my life where I can just choose to go out and do what I want to do, which is such a feeling of freedom. And it's something that I've intentionally designed into my life. And I asked myself, how do I want to show up and serve? How do I want to show up and give back? And so for me, it was like, oh, I would want to teach other people how to do this. Okay, so that goes into actually Genius Zone. So that was a nice segue. Look at me. Okay, so what is Genius Zone? Oh, I didn't even pull up any of my slides or anything because I teach on Genius Zone a lot, but that's okay. I can just go off the cuff. So Genius Zone is tied into flow state. And the last episode I did was on flow state. So if you didn't watch that episode, you can go back and watch that episode. Oh, let me check the live chat. I was saying, if you're live, say hi in the chat. Say hello. Tell me where you're from. I want to make sure I can see them because my husband was saying he wrote a comment the other day and I never saw it come up. So if you're watching live, say hi in the chat. I hope I see it. Okay, so Genius Zone is tied into flow state. Last episode, which I did on Fridays live, was about flow state activities. And Genius Zone activities are basically flow state activities if you get into flow state. Genius Zone is really where like your skills and your talents and your unique, hi, Julie, yay. I hope, yes, it is hot in Atlanta. It is so hot in Florida too. Like I can handle it into the 90s. I like the 90s. I'm good with that. Today for my walk, I do a walking meditation every single day, pretty much. I love to walk in nature and I love it as part of my manifestation practice and part of my meditation practice. I do sit and meditate as well, but I really like walking meditations and to try to, I think it's really powerful to assume the energy of the goal desired while you're moving your body, because moving your body automatically gets you into like a higher vibrational state anyways. So it's like double the power when you're doing it when you're walking. It was really very hot today. I felt like I was walking in a sauna. So I did at least get a good sweat in. So I guess it was kind of double duty, but it was a shorter walk than usual for sure. This is too hot for me, but I am, when I traveling to New England and it's going to be cold. It's going to be like 60 degrees at night. That's like, I'm not used to that anymore. But I think it'll feel very refreshing. Okay. Well, I'm glad I can see the live chat. Julie, I hope you heard me answer the question about the comparison trap. That was back in the beginning of the video if you just got here. So you'll have to watch the replay. Okay, so Genius Zone is really where your talents and your skills overlap with things that feel really fun and effortless to you. They can still be challenging, but like in a good way, like in an exciting, fun, pulling you forward way. There should be a little challenge in there. There should be a little like wanting to stretch and grow and get better always, because that's the nature of life, is to expand, create, grow. Life is always expanding, creating, growing, right? If you look at anything, just nature. So there should be an element of that in it. It should also tie in with your skills and abilities and talents, things that maybe you're good at that are like easy for you, but hard for other people. They should feel predominantly like flow state activities for you. This is Genius Zone. So this all comes from the book, and I didn't bring it here, but it's called The Big Leap by Gay Hendricks. It's one of my favorite books. I probably read it first, I don't even know, 15 years ago, maybe. I think it had just come out. But he talks about in that book, highly recommend reading it if you haven't read it yet. It's called The Big Leap. I love it for anybody who's making a big change in their life, because that's what the book's about, the big leap into something bigger, better, newer, more exciting, more aligned, more passionate, more fulfilling. And he talks about how we have these zones that we operate in. And I don't even remember, there's like the zone of boredom, which is stuff that's either just not exciting or passionate or aligned with your purpose. Then there's the zone of excellence, which is things that you're probably really good at. And most people have careers in their zone of excellence because they are really good at doing it. So I always said like photography for me was probably more of a zone of excellence thing. I was really good at it. But Genius Zone is outside of your zone of excellence. It's like pushing into, it's pushing out of your comfort zone. Zone of excellence, comfort zone. Show up, you do it, you're good at it, great. But it doesn't have the excitement of the Genius Zone. It doesn't have the little bit of challenge that the Genius Zone has for you to kind of like shatter your ceiling. And this is a big reason why I sold the whole photography business. It's not why we moved down here to Florida, but it was a big part of me deciding I was done with that chapter in my career and not restarting that back up again down here. Because I felt I got to the like ceiling of the industry. I felt like I was at the top of the mountain and like I needed something new to pursue, to grow, to stretch, to expand. So that chapter felt really complete and well done to me. And I knew I wanted to expand into more. And that's why I think I loved that book so much, because it really gives you a lot of great questions to ask yourself about really stretching out of that comfort zone. So in my membership community, I have a lot of journal prompts and everything to kind of get you to focus in on what that could be for you. But the first thing you can start writing about, or just, like listing out, is your unique life experiences, because your life experiences do play a big role in your genius zone. Everything, the hard stuff. You can journal around, like, who do you wish that you had in your life? What advice do you wish that you had? Or who's a mentor that you wish that you had when you were younger? Things surrounding that can really inform it. Usually, genius zone also is impacting more than just you. So usually your genius zone activity is uncomfortable because it's vulnerable, because it's also impacting other people in some way. It's some service to other people. It's some value to other people. It's some way of like making an impact in the world, in your life. And this can change. I mean, I think your genius zone is always your genius zone, but what that looks like in your daily work can change as your life changes and shifts when you're in different chapters. So if you're in a chapter where you have young babies at home, you might need to spend a lot more of your time in taking care of them and providing for them and being responsible for them and helping them. So you may spend less time in your genius zone activities during chapters of your life that are more demanding in other areas. And you might feel that you want to express that in different ways. So obviously creativity is a big part of my genius zone. And sometimes that looks like painting, and I feel like painting. Sometimes it's doing a mural. Sometimes it's creating art. Sometimes it's developing new products. Sometimes it's developing a course. Sometimes it's going live on YouTube. It's starting a podcast. But creativity is always at the heart of it. And then the expression of that creativity can come in many different forms. So the expression of your genius zone, whether it could be around, like, I actually think with my husband, he's always been into sports and athletics. But I think his genius zone is really around coaching and leadership. And so he used to do that on a team playing sports. Then he did it as a coach for sports. Like, he coaches my son's sports now. But he's doing it in leadership in his company right now too. So I think that you can have that genius zone expressed in like so many different ways within your life. So think about that, and you can journal on that a little. Now, if you are not currently working in your genius zone, that's okay. Like, most people aren't, but you know the direction that you want to go. My advice always is to start bringing it into every day in little ways. It doesn't need to look like the final product to start practicing being in the energy of it. But the more you can get into that energy, the more you're going to, like, doors will start opening for you, opportunities stop presenting themselves. Here's a good example. So I decided I'm just going to start the YouTube show. I don't have a fancy studio. I don't have good equipment yet. This used to be the guest room in our house, and I got rid of everything in the guest room. And I was like, I'm making a dedicated space and a desk to sit down at so that I can start to like get into the zone. And I'm just going to start going live. And I don't care. People go live from their phones on YouTube. So I'm like, I can just go live and start talking to the camera. Nobody sees the show yet. It doesn't have good reach yet. It's going to take time to build, but you have to get in the energy of doing it every single day for everything else to fall into place. You can't wait. If I sat around waiting till I had, my lottery ticket win so I could design my perfect YouTube studio, I'd be waiting forever probably. But getting in the energy of doing it, it does start opening doors. I mean, I've only been doing this for 3 weeks, and I've gotten opportunities to be on other podcasts and people reaching out and sharing. And even though the show itself still isn't, I don't have 1 million subscribers on YouTube yet, so it's not where it could be in the big picture, but it would never be anywhere if I didn't just start getting into the energy of doing it. So, and part of that too is that I said, well, when this happens, let's just say a lottery win. When I win the lottery, I'm going to design this awesome YouTube studio. I'm going to go online. I'm going to help people create and realize their dreams. I just started doing it anyways. I didn't win the lottery yet, but I'm much more likely to win the lottery because I'm already in the energy of doing the thing, being the person that I would be after the goal is achieved. And I just use lottery because I think that is such a far-fetched for most people. Like, well, yeah, you can't predict when you're going to win the lottery, right? And so I like to use that as an example. So what is it you would do if you won the lottery tomorrow? And I think I did this in another episode too. This is one of my favorite questions to ask. If you won the lottery tomorrow and money was not an issue, money's just an energy, and we attach our work to money so much because that's just how our society is, and that's okay. We have to survive and make money and all those things. But like, pull money out of the equation for a second and just ask yourself, what is it that I would do if I never had to worry about money again? If I win the lottery and I never have to worry about money again, what would you do with your one precious life? What would you do with your time? And make a list of things. It could be lots of different things. And then what would I want my legacy to be? What kind of an impact? How could I best help others? How could I mentor somebody? How could I be the mentor that I needed when I was younger? What's the advice I would give my younger self now? The answer to all those things can help point you in the right direction. And then here's the key to all of it. Practice being that person now. You still show up, you still do the same work, but I would argue you do better work. You show up and you do better work because you're already in the energy of that person. And it's just going to lead to more success because it's all an energy game. It's all an energy game. So going back to that, the question about comparison, you can even use comparison as a tool to help you figure out the answers to these questions. One great thing to do is list out like 3 to 5 of the people that you look up to the most, like their inspiration in business, their careers, their celebrities, their athletes, their authors, whatever. Who are 3 to 5 of the people that you look up to the most, or even that you compare yourself to the most, or that you envy the most, or that you feel jealousy around their career, or whatever? Look at them. Then I want you to list out some of their characteristics and see where they overlap. So are they all authors? Do they all have podcasts? Are they all artists? Are they all stay-at-home moms? Are they all career driven? What type of industry do they work in? Just like, what are their characteristics? A lot of the people that I follow now, really, I spend a lot of time on YouTube now. That's part of why I'm doing this show. Because I was like, I'm just watching people like go live in their kitchen. How easy is that? Like, I could just do that. So, and I have always actually been into cooking. Probably not as big of a known fact, but I love cooking. My mom used to write a food article for the local newspaper. It was the Warwick Beacon. If there's any Rhode Islanders on here. She wrote a food article for years. She's a very good writer, and was always cooking and always testing recipes. And so I just grew up cooking, and I don't like to follow recipes. It's part of I'm very creative in the kitchen as well. But I like to create recipes and test recipes, and I love to eat, and I love good food. So yeah, cooking is actually a thing that I do, but that's just something I like share on my Instagram. You can find a lot of recipes on my Instagram, by the way, too. My chicken soup is exceptional, but it's a lot of hard work. So yeah, I just like, it's simpler than you think. Genius zone sounds like, how am I ever going to figure out where I'm a genius? Or maybe even like, I'm not a genius. But everybody has a genius zone. And if you can tap into that on a regular basis in little ways and just start getting into the energy of it, I promise you, like, that is where you begin to manifest miracles. That is when you're like, oh, things become synchronistic. Like, I just got this random phone call, or someone random saw my stuff, or whatever it is. And an instant like that can change your whole life. Just one right door opening, one opportunity can change everything. So yeah. So you got to start somewhere. You got to start with no subscribers. You got to start with no, no audience, no social media reach. A big pivotal thing in my career I mean, there's been a lot of pivotal things. I'm like a roller coaster. It's been an adventurous life for sure. One of the things though was losing my email list. So I had built it over 15 years, and I just think about all the giveaways I did and all the lead magnets and all of the like setting everything up, and I had grown it to over 30,000 subscribers. And then some law changed, and Flowdesk like flagged my account, and they were like, you have to delete every email that came from a CSV. And I'm like, well, half of them came from CSVs because I imported everything. I used to use a different provider. I used to use MailChimp. So at that point, it was like a very hard blow to my career because I used to just be able to go into my email and like type an email and put stuff on sale and sell it. And I had built it over a long period of time and over a lot of work. So it was frustrating, and it felt like a giant door shut in my face. But a lot of times those doors shut in your face are rerouting you. Like you're not supposed to go down that hallway anymore. You got a new hallway and a new path. And so that's part of what drove me on YouTube too, because I was like, well, I need a different audience. Like I can't rely on that list anymore. The list is over, cut it off. It's not part of my career anymore. And start fresh, start from nothing, start from scratch. And you're never really starting from scratch because you always have your life experience, and you always have your genius, and you always have those things, the talents, skills, and abilities that you've always had and always been using, and you can just funnel them into something even better. And whatever that next chapter is of expansion and creativity. But a lot of people get stuck with stretching out of their comfort zone because it is scary sometimes. We like safety. Our egos are designed to keep us safe. Our body wants to stay in homeostasis. No matter how much our mind desires a different outcome, our biology is built to stay safe. So we have to stretch to the point where we don't feel super safe, where we feel either vulnerable, or we have to be seen more, we have to be heard more, we have to stretch into those things, maybe not have a steady paycheck, maybe whatever it is for you. Maybe it's quitting the job, that's scary. Maybe it's leaving the relationship, that's scary. Maybe it's whatever the next chapter is. I mean, aren't you like nervous before every big thing, like before graduating, before starting college, before getting married, before having children? Like all those life experiences have some degree of nervousness because we don't know what that experience is going to be like if we haven't had it yet. That's where upper limits come in and limiting beliefs. And I won't talk too much about them today, but it is important to understand where we hold ourselves back so that we can recognize when that's the voice that's driving our decision making, and we can ignore it and we can alchemize it into the opposite, right? So like, let's just say I need a steady paycheck, or I'm not good enough, or whatever. It's figuring out the opposite and starting to rehearse the opposite and tell yourself the opposite. And for a lot of people, we've been hardwired since childhood with a lot of our limiting beliefs. That's where they come from. So they come from our parents' limiting beliefs, and they come from what we've been taught in school and all that, and what we formed as an ego identity, basically. And it takes a lot of practice to rewire those. And that's why standing in front of the mirror and doing and saying the opposite, or saying the desired outcome that you've already achieved it, or seeing yourself in that light is so powerful because it's helping form new neural pathways. You're rewiring your subconscious by practicing it consciously all the time. And then those limiting beliefs fall away. So I'll just use the lottery as an example. If my limiting belief is it's impossible to win the lottery, or it's just all up to chance, there's no way that I can manifest winning the lottery. If those are my beliefs, and those are probably your beliefs too, I'm sure I think that's one that's like so far out there, but I have to start practicing and rehearsing that it's already occurred. I have to be in the energy of knowing that it's already happened. And until I can be in that energy all the time and rewire my subconscious to actually believe that it's possible, it's never going to happen for me. So this is why, like, athletes, they do a lot of visualization and a lot of rehearsal of winning the game, of crossing the finish line, of the 4-minute mile. They rehearse that all, and their body has to believe it's possible for them to actually achieve it. You probably have heard the story of the 4-minute mile, but it was like everyone thought it was impossible for a human to run a 4-minute mile until it happened. And then once it happened, the first person ran the 4-minute mile, then lots of people started running 4-minute miles because all of a sudden everybody knew it was possible. So if you have a dream that you think is wild and impossible, I want you to write it down right now. What's your wildest, most impossible dream? Write it down. And really think about what your life would look like and how you would feel if you achieved that dream. And then practice those thoughts, feelings, and emotions of the desired goal achieved every single day. Practice it in your meditation. Practice it when you're out for your walk. Practice it when you're out for a run. Practice it when you're standing in line at the grocery store. That's why I love my walks, and I think they're really powerful, because while I'm walking, I really am just like feeling that the desired outcome has already happened. And I feel it and I know it so deeply that I trust. And once you begin to repeat over and over and over again to form new thoughts and emotions and beliefs within your body, it's really like rewiring your whole nervous system too. Your nervous system has to has to feel that it's safe for that level too. I hope I said that in a way that makes sense. Your whole nervous system has to believe that you will be safe in the desired outcome. Because if you don't, then you're going to subconsciously block it from you. You're going to retreat, hide. You're going to basically, your nervous system goes into like fight, flight, or freeze. You're not operating out of a really high energy there. So that's part of what the daily practice of all of this stuff is so crucial for. If you're not practicing daily the energy of the desired goal achieved, you're not going to achieve it. Or if you do, it's going to take a really long time and a lot of struggle and a lot of hard work and a lot of sacrifice. And chances are when you get the goal, it's not even going to feel good because it sucked so much to get there, for lack of a better word. You've got to enjoy the process of getting there. And the quickest way to start enjoying all the work involved in getting there is to get into the energy, the good high energy of it already being achieved. The excitement, the passion, the purpose, the drive. That's the most powerful place to work from and create from. And trust me, the outcome is so much easier. It does become really easy and fun if you can stay in that energy all the time. And the only person that controls the energy is you. So if you're feeling low energies, just note what they're about. Sometimes your lower energies are like showing you where your blocks are. They're showing you where you're holding on to something subconsciously still. So you can explore around that and see what might be limiting you or holding you back. What's the limiting belief that's keeping me stuck here? And what's the opposite of that, which is usually what you really want? And then start practicing its opposite as many ways as you can. Now, here's, I think, a good example. Let's say you have a lot of money blocks. I'm going to have my friend Heather on the show soon to talk about money blocks because she's so good with going into all of these. Let's say you have limiting beliefs around money. You grew up in poverty or a lack mindset, or you're struggling to pay your bills, and you're just right now, you're not feeling, you want to feel wealth and abundance and freedom, and you're not feeling it in your everyday life. You have anxiety every time you write a check. How do you start to feel something that hasn't occurred yet? And this is where your mind is so powerful. You can trigger the emotional responses within your body before the actual event occurs by just rehearsing it with your mind. So rehearsing that desired outcome, the wealth, abundance, prosperity, freedom, practice feeling those feelings now. What thoughts make you feel that way? and practice those thoughts, those affirmations. That's why affirmations can be powerful, but they're not powerful unless you're feeling them. If you're just reading them and you don't feel it inside, it's not doing a whole lot. It's not super effective. But if you can get into the feeling on a daily basis, so what things make you feel like rich and luxurious? What things make you feel that way? And start practicing. Maybe it's taking like a hot bath with essential oils. Maybe it's drinking out of crystal. I like drinking out of crystal. So even for water. Maybe it's maybe you can't book the 1 week vacation, but you could take one day off. Maybe, it's just, how do I start to feel in that energy? For me, a lot of that is freedom, like the freedom to do what I want to do when I want to do it. That's what everything's around. I think that's like a core desired feeling of mine, is just freedom. And you can, The Desire Map by Danielle Laporte is a good book to get in touch with, like, what are your core desired feelings? Because that's really what we want the money for. That's really what we want the goal achieved for, It's for the feeling that we're going to get with the goal achieved. And mapping that stuff out, practicing it every day. And when you have limiting beliefs or negative emotions come up, which are usually the opposite of the desired, right? Pointing them out, like naming them out, and then actively stating something different. Actively practicing the more expanded belief, the more creative belief. This is a big thing in the law of attraction, is when things come up, like, how can you just rephrase it better and better and better? So like, even if it's like, I don't have the money for that. It's like, I don't have the money for that now. I will have the money for that soon. When I have the money for that, I will do this. When and then starting to practice better and better feeling thoughts. So I was texting actually with Heather about coming on the show for the money blocks and everything. And I said, and I just got offered a few $1,000s to appear on a podcast. And that was like exciting for me. And I want her to come on this show. And I didn't say I don't have $3,000 to pay you. I said, I don't have $3,000 to pay you yet, but I know that it's on its way. So by the time that you're on the show, I'm going to have the money to be able to pay you that to be on the show. So it's just like a rephrasing, and it's with everything, because we're constantly transacting with money, and money is just an energy. And so we just have to be in the energy of having more than enough, having an overflow, being a magnet for it, just being in the energy of like, opportunities come to me all the time. When I am operating in my highest energy, I am just attracting, magnetizing to me more opportunities to be out in the world in my highest energy. Luna, what are you doing? Don't eat that. My puppy is trouble. Okay. Well, this was an extra long show, so I will type the recipe down into the comments below in case you missed it. They're really good. Highly recommend. I think I didn't put chocolate chips in these, but I think I will next time, because they'd be even better with the chocolate chips. I'll put the recipe there. Yeah. And then, I was going to put, for the photography question people, I do have a entry-level digital photography course called Master Digital Photography, which teaches you all the basics about cameras, lenses, exposure, shutter, aperture, ISO, the exposure triangle, and some compositional techniques and things like that. I'd say it's great for anybody like 12 and older, as long as they can sit. It's an online course, so if you can sit in the computer and watch it. And it's usually $150. I'm going to put it on sale for $20 for the next week. So I will put the code below just after this live goes off. So you can use the code to get it. It'd be great for like teens or just a fun summer camp from home. And it's got some photography activities and stuff for them to do too. And my YouTube channel has a lot of great lessons for kids too that are fun. If you're just looking for stuff to do with your kids this summer, I did them with, Grant was like 3 years old when I recorded them, I think. I don't know. He was young. Maybe he was like 5. Anyways, he just had his iPad. He did all the activities with us with his iPad. So they're just fun little creative activities that you can do with a cell phone or an iPad or whatever device you have that has a camera, compositional light and shadow, stuff like that. Those are all on my YouTube channel too, under free photography lessons for kids and adults. Check those out. Those have been pretty popular. And I think that's it for today. So have a great week, everybody. Remember, everything is possible. And if you're caught in the comparison game, it's just showing you what's possible. That's all. So I say thank you for reminding me what's possible in my life. All right. Have a great day, everyone.